Okay, quick reminder, just be confident in your abilities, okay? You can do it. Okay? Now, retired, well, from work, not life. So we're talking about retirement, okay? Let's think about putting money away for retirement. And so the goal, we're filling up the jars, right? We're saving our money with the hope that we can allow for it to grow and give us that much more when we hit retirement age. That's the goal. And so here's a pay stub. And I look at this, and on this pay stub I see we've got this information about retirement. And then I make note that it says this period, so in this period of time, so on this paycheck, $150 went into a retirement account. So apparently then, this person has it set up so that every time he or she gets paid, that money, that $150, goes directly into that account. Well, how often does this person get paid? Well, let's look right up here. It says the pay period is from the 6th of August to the 19th of August, so that's 2 weeks long. So that means this person's getting paid bi-weekly. Oh no, not that again. Yeah, we got to keep this in mind now. So how many times is money going into that retirement account every year? Well, again, it's going to be based on how often do I get paid. If I'm getting paid monthly, that means I'm putting money into that account 12 times a year. If I'm getting paid semi-monthly, that's 24. If I'm getting paid bi-weekly, it's 26. And if I'm getting paid weekly, it's 52. Oh yeah, we've talked about these numbers before. Okay? So we want to keep this information in mind, because now we're talking about how often am I putting money in. So I'm not just putting an amount in and leaving it, I'm adding to it every time I get paid. What the heck is this thing? We got this scary looking formula, but again, that comes back to the I can do it. You can. I'll show you. And as we look at it, you see a lot of similar information. The A is still how much do I have in the account at the end after I've added all the interest in. Now instead of a P, I've got a PMT because I'm adding money in. So it's how much is deposited with each paycheck. So I'm not putting one amount in and leaving it. I'm putting an amount in and then adding to it every time I get paid. R is still our interest rate, T is still our number of years, and then N is how many times per year the deposit is being made. So that's why that piece is important to know. How regularly is this person getting paid, because that's going to have an impact then. Okay? And here's the important piece. You guys know this? You guys have heard the phrase practice makes perfect, but it's not right. It says practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect. If you practice something wrong, you will continue to do it wrong. Okay? So we want to make sure that we're doing this right. So here's a formula that looks a little bit difficult. You can do it, but you need to practice it. Okay? So now let's take that information from that paycheck. We're getting paid bi-weekly. We looked at that already. So that's 26 for N. We saw that it's $150 going in per paycheck, so that's my PMT. We just gave you this information. We needed to choose something for the interest rate, so I chose 6%. So I know R is going to be 0.06. And then we decided that the account was going to be open for 10 years, so T is equal to 10. So now let's plug the numbers into the formula. And there it is. PMT, 150, just like we said. R, 0.06, there it is. N is 26, there's the 26 both times, and over here, and there's my 0.06. And then T is right here, it's the 10. So we've now plugged the numbers in. So there it is, crazy looking formula. Okay, and just as I did previously, we're going to look at two different ways to put this information into the calculator. I'm telling you that this is going to be the answer. So we're going to look at both methods in terms of typing it in. What's the order in which I want to make sure I do this correctly? So let's look at this form. So I'm just going to go right in order. Again, the key is we make sure we hit every keystroke. So I do the 0.06 divided by 26. I add the 1 and then I hit my equal sign. Next, I'm going to hit whatever I have for an exponent key. My calculator has one that looks like this. You might have x to the y or y to the x. Now I open up the parenthesis and then I put in the 26 times 10 and then I close that parenthesis. And now I press equal. Then I do -1 and again I press equal again. Now I multiply by 150 and again I hit equal. Now I'm going to do divided by. I'm going to open up that first parenthesis. I'm going to type in the 0.06 divided by 26 again, and I'm going to close that parenthesis. Then I'm going to hit equal, and if you follow every one of those steps, this is the answer you're going to get. You're going to get that 53,355.88. Okay? You have to practice it. Now let's look at this form. So again, I'm going to start by typing 150. Now I'm going to open up a parenthesis. It is not necessary, if your calculator will allow you to do this, it is not necessary for you to type in a multiplication sign here. You don't need it. Then I open up another parenthesis. Then I open up a third one. And then I do 1 plus, so this part. Then I open up a parenthesis right here. Now I'm going to do my 0.06 divided by 26. And then I have 2 more parentheses to close. Now I've got my exponent. There's my exponent key. I got to open up that parenthesis. And now I do the 26 times 10. And I need to close that parenthesis. And then I need to close that parenthesis. Then I'm going to hit -1. And then I'm going to close that parenthesis. Now I'm to here, so I do divided by, open the parenthesis, my 0.06 divided by 26, I close that parenthesis, and then I press equal. Bam, I get that same answer. Again, you just have to practice it. You just have to practice typing it in like that. Okay? And so now, let's look at a similar situation. Getting paid semi-monthly, but so I read semi-monthly, I know is 24. I'm going to have the same rest of the information, the 150 deposit per check, the 6% interest, and the 10 years. So there's what my formula now looks like with all the numbers in it. Okay, again, payment 150, R 0.06, N and N 24 and 24, there's my 0.06 again, and then T is 10. And again, you're choosing whichever way is easier for you in terms of typing it in. Doesn't matter to me. So again, let's review. How do I type it in here? I start with my 0.06 divided by 24. I add my 1. Again, you cannot forget that equal sign. Now comes my exponent key. I open my parenthesis. I put in the 24 times 10. Close the parenthesis, don't forget the parentheses, equals, important. Now I'm going -1, another equal sign, then times 150, and then another equal sign, and now divided by, I open my parenthesis, 0.06 divided by 24, close the parenthesis, equals, bam, there is my answer. Let's try the other style this time again. I'm going to do the 150, and then I've got 1, 2, 3 parentheses to open up. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then 1 plus, and then I got to open up that one, and then the 0.06 divided by 24. I've got 2 parentheses to close, so I do that. Now I've got my exponent, so I use my exponent key. I got to open a parenthesis, and now I'm putting in the 24 times 10. Then I have 2 more closing parentheses to put in. Now a -1, and then the next closing parenthesis. Now my division sign, I've got to open the parenthesis, the 0.06 divided by 24 again, close the parenthesis, press equal, boom, there it is. Again, just practice it. Follow this example. Now, what I want to do real quickly is just look at the two results that we just got. Because we had biweekly. For all of these, for both of these, we had the same payment, the same rate, the same number of years. There was my answer for how much was in the account after 10 years if I was being paid biweekly. And now when I was at semi-monthly, I've got this. So stop and think just for a moment. Why is this one basically $4,100 more than this one? Think about that for a sec. Okay. Now, let's look at this if we're leaving the money in for a longer term. So I'm still getting paid the semi-monthly, so 1 is 24, still the same 150, still the same rate, but now I'm going to leave it in for 30 years. And so here's what my formula looks like now for 30 years. Okay, again, you're choosing which format works better for you. Okay, I'm giving you the right answer. Holy smokes, would you look at that answer. And so again, let's go in order. 0.06 divided by 24 plus 1. Don't forget the equal signs, that's important. Got my exponent key. Open the parenthesis. My 24 times 30, close the parenthesis. Got my next equal sign. -1. Got another equal sign. Times 150. Got another equal sign. Divided by. Got to open the parenthesis. The 0.06 divided by 24, close that parenthesis, equals, and look at that number, $302,164.42. Again, let's look at it this way. There's my 150. Again, I got 3 of them to open. There they are. Then I'm putting in my 1 plus. Now I got another parenthesis to open. 0.06 divided by 24. I've got 2 more parentheses to close. 1, 2. I've got my exponent, so I need my exponent key. I open up another parenthesis here. I got the 24 times 30. Now I've got 2 more closing parentheses, so let's put those in, 1 and 2. Then it's -1, and then I have 1 more parenthesis to close. Now I've got my divided by, an opening parenthesis, the 0.06 divided by 24, my closing parenthesis, and there's equal, and again, there's that number. You put in $150 twice a month for 30 years with all your interest. There's what you end up with, $302,164.42. That's a pretty nice piece of money to be waiting on you. Okay? So I want you to think about how that retirement account, with the way that you are putting money in all the time, that your interest is consistent, that you're leaving it in for a good chunk of time, what does that mean for you when you look back and say, geez, I've done a pretty good job of saving, haven't I? So again, here's our formula, the reminder. A, how much is in the account at the end when you've retired? How much money is there that you can utilize? We had that $300,000. That was a pretty good chunk of money. The payment, PMT, is how much is taken out of every one of your checks and being put into that account. The nice part is you never touch it. R is your interest rate. Ideally you can get something that's steady. T is how many years is it going to sit there, and N is again how many times per year you're adding that money in. Okay? So here you go. Work your magic. You can do this. We're doing the 24 retirement account classic assignment. Take your time. Do the great job that I know you can do.